How did you get back at an entitled friend who ruined your own birthday party? Every year on my birthday, my friend Amy shows up with her 2 little kids and hijacks the whole place. For 7 years, my milestones were converted into chaotic playdates. If I reserved a steakhouse, she demanded a noisy burger franchise. If I hosted a barbecue, the craft beer was locked away. Playlists were replaced by cartoons, and we walked on eggshells so her boys wouldn't wake up. I was turning 35 and exhausted from compromising. I wanted one evening of pure adult freedom. I spent 2 months rent booking a private, glass-enclosed tasting room at an exclusive hilltop vineyard. It featured a strict dress code, imported champagne, and a breathtaking view. A week before the event, I called Amy to lay down the law. I told her this was a strictly 21 and over evening. No exceptions, no children. She exploded, screaming that I was a bitter spinster, secretly jealous of her maternal happiness, and demanded to know who was supposed to pay her babysitter. I kept my voice level. I told her that her childcare logistics were not my financial responsibility, and she could either secure a sitter or decline the invitation. She called me a monster and hung up. I assumed she would stay home. The party began flawlessly. The sunset was gorgeous, and my friends were genuinely unwinding, swapping hilarious, inappropriate stories about terrible dates. Nobody censored themselves. Then, the heavy oak doors violently swung open. Amy marched inside, an hour late, gripping both of her uninvited sons by their wrists. She didn't apologize. She just glared at the elegant setup and dropped 3 massive diaper bags directly onto the imported rug. Within 15 minutes, the boys weaponized the space. The younger one smeared artisanal cheese into a vintage armchair. The older one knocked over a crystal decanter of expensive Cabernet, splashing red wine all over my friend's silk dress. The room went dead silent. People started nervously checking their watches, clearly looking for an excuse to escape. I pulled Amy into the hallway, demanding an explanation. She flashed a smug smirk, claiming her babysitter canceled at the last second, and she wasn't missing a free luxury party. Then, she loudly ordered me to have the venue staff find apple juice and turn the jazz off so the boys could watch her iPad. She assumed I would swallow my anger and let her ruin another year. Instead, a calculated idea crossed my mind. I smiled warmly, nodded, and walked over to the leather sofa where her kids were kicking the cushions. If she forced her children into an adults-only environment, I was going to fully embrace the adults-only curriculum. I sat facing them and asked if they wanted to learn some secret grown-up words. Their eyes lit up. I spent 20 minutes giving them a masterclass in the most aggressive profanity in the English language. I gave them definitions, grammatical rules, and scenarios to deploy them for maximum impact. I made them repeat the phrases back to me. I didn't stop there. I grabbed a napkin and a Sharpie, telling them I was going to teach them the unfiltered truth about where babies come from. I gave them a brutally honest, anatomically correct biology lesson on human reproduction. I spared zero details, drawing diagrams and answering their rapid-fire questions with unflinching honesty. Amy finally noticed the huddle. She marched over, face red with anger, demanding to know what I was whispering about. Before I could respond, her 8-year-old son stood up on the sofa and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Mom, I know how babies are made now. Is that the naked wrestling game Daddy was playing with the cleaning lady in the laundry room last week?" The silence was absolutely deafening. You could have heard a pin drop. Several friends physically gasped in pure shock. Amy's smug expression instantly vaporized. The color drained from her face. She didn't try to defend herself. She grabbed both kids by their jackets and practically dragged them out the doors. As they were pulled down the hallway, the younger boy repeatedly shouted his brand new vocabulary words into the lobby. I calmly signaled the sommelier to open another bottle of champagne and turned the jazz back up. The party lasted until 3 in the morning, and I haven't received a single text from Amy since.